Hey, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Listen closely. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And then you can listen to me, Brandy Joy, with a voice to be reckoned with. Don't forget, head over to Larry Hankin's website, thereallarryhankin.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my show, A Voice to be Reckoned With. I'm your host, Brandy Joy, and today I have a special guest, Larry Hankin. Larry Hankin, he is a director, an actor, a comedian. Larry stars on El Camino, Breaking Bad, Annie, Billy Madison, Escape from Alcatraz, and he also was in Friends and Seinfeld, and many, many more. Larry's here talking about his ventures and experiences that he's went through as an actor, in his career, and things in his personal life. I think he's way cool and a humble, down-to-earth, and I just want to share him with you guys. So welcome him and show him love. Okay, I think I'm ready for this. All right. I prepared myself, but I just still feel a little on edge, like my palms are sweaty or something, and I don't know. If I just begin and don't really think too much, I don't know. I just feel like I'm going to fumble over words and wait a minute. I do this every show. I'm a pro at this. I'm about to kill this. Larry, can you please tell us what it is that makes you so amazing?
The latest thing I have is a book coming out. Well, it just came out about 3 weeks ago. It's called The Loopholes Dossier, and it's a satire. It's a funny story of liars, hustlers, and a runaway pickpocket. It's a comedy. It's about 3 different people. One is a runaway 15-year-old who turns out to be a pickpocketing prodigy, and how he gets along. And then the next one is about a 55-year-old, 60-year-old politician, and how he hustles and lies and gets along. That takes place in the future. And then a homeless guy who refers to himself as an independent, entrepreneurial, beggar, panhandler saint, and what his hustle is, and how he can stay alive and survive. And he gives lessons to people about homeless people about it. It's funny. It's just, I used to be homeless, so I kind of know about that world. I lived in my car for a year way back in the day when I was a lot younger. So I just thought I would write about 3 things that I know. Not pickpocketing, but the hustle on the street. And politicians, I've been dealing with that for years. Politicians.
Okay.
By the way, but let me just add one thing there, that you can buy it on Amazon or any bookstore. Or it's on for sale all over the world. It's either an ebook. You can order it for, I think it's $2.99 or something like that. And then there's a hardcover book, and it's got illustrations in it too that I drew and painted and stuff. So it's pretty cool. So actually make a great Christmas present for somebody. Really cool Christmas present.
Okay, wow, thank you. So everybody here, Amazon, $2.99. I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely keep presenting that on my show. I'll let people know, during ads.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Not a problem.
I've heard from several people who've read it. They thought it was really, really cool. I've got some, reviews up. Oh, and I also have a website, thereallarryhankin.com. It's in beta now. It's up. You can visit it, but it's not fully completed. We're adding stuff every couple of days. We're adding stuff. And you'll be able to see stuff that I've done, some of my video films that I've made, and eventually you'll be able to buy stuff, I guess. We'll see how it goes. But it's a cool site. You just should visit it just to see it.
All right, then not a problem. I'll definitely add that onto my website too, a link where people can reach it too.
Oh, great! Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
No problem. You're part of the family now. Once you enter, on the show, Voice Be Record, now you're a family member.
Cool. Okay, fine.
You get all the benefits. Oh wow. So yeah, I was going to ask you what inspired that, and then you told us. You said once upon a back in the day you were homeless. Okay.
Yeah, so, that was quite an adventure.
Yeah, how was that for you? Because as we know here, you became a really a well-known actor, and so how was that? Like, how did you from that struggle? How did you get to where you are now?
Well, how did I got there by I got to become homeless. Many people become homeless for no other reason, for a lot of reasons that are not their fault. That's what I learned on the street, that homeless people are not less intelligent than anybody else, and mainly they're used to have jobs like everybody else. It's just, in my case, it was procrastination, and that was my fault. I just procrastinated because I left I lived on a tiny little houseboat out in San Francisco Bay. I was paying like $50 a month. And it was just an empty hull of a boat that they kind of furnished, whoever owned it, and rented it out. And all it had was just a little place where you can put a mattress if you had a mattress. It didn't come with anything. And a wire from the dock for one light, or I guess you could plug in a couple of lights if you had an extension cord. And that was my electricity. There's no phone or anything. And back in those days, there was no digital phones. There's no iPhones or anything like that. So I lived there, and then I got a job in New York. So I left a little boat in San Francisco, and I was only going to be away for 3 weeks. And the job helped a friend write. Extended for 2 months. I was living in his apartment, and he was paying me. So I thought, well, okay. The lady who was my landlord lived on the dock, and I really never did. I was living there for about 3 or 4 months, and I never did understand what the address was. I would just row in every month and pay her cash, and then row out to my little home. So an address was never, I would just row in and knock on the door and say, here's the rent, and row out. So when I was in New York, I didn't know where to send the money. So I just thought, well, I'll wait and, when I go back in 2 months, then I'll just pay her 2 months. Plus I'll give her maybe an extra something just for, hanging her up. But when I got back, it was already rented. She had taken everything that I owned that was on the boat and threw it overboard because I hadn't paid the rent for 2 months. So I was homeless. So it's simple as that. Very direct. So I was on the street and living in my car, a classic old 1965 VW bus. The cream and green colored buses that you see in all the ads back then. And it was hollowed out. There was nothing in it. I mean, it was bare. It was like actually it was like a truck. It was just down to the metal. There was no seats in it. There was no cloth in it. It was just metal. It was hollow. And it was actually given to me as a gift for $5. So that's kind of how worthless it was. You couldn't really sell it. So there was no seats in it except the driver's seat. And there was a box that if you were riding with me shotgun, you sat on a wooden box. And that was the passenger seat. Because I needed all the room to sleep in and keep my clothes and whatever books I had. So that went on for about a year. I lived there, and I really got into it. I can say that I'm a survivor. I got along. I understood, who to see for what, when, and how. And then finally, I started to get jobs in the committee, which was an offshoot of Second City up in San Francisco. And from there, I just wandered down with the other actors down to L.A. and became an actor. And then I, started to be able to pay my own rent. And I didn't leave without telling the landlady ever again. So I've been homeless since. So I learned my lesson.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Larry, I like when you said that a lot of people are homeless due to, because, like, it's not that they want to, you know what I mean?
They lost the job. They were fired. Yeah. The fire, fires in California. I mean, half of Northern California is homeless right now because of all the fires. Yeah. And there's no relief for them. So, I mean, they're going to be, and they know it. They're going to be homeless for a long time. I mean, months, probably a year. They're going to be homeless. That's a lot of people up there. And I live down in L.A. I live near the beach in an apartment house. But I see here, they're all over the place. Homeless people on the street and on side streets and alleys. It's rampant all over the United States. I think, frankly, just from what I see and from what I lived it, we now are starting to grow a permanent pauper class. There's no way that you can get everybody off the street, and it's going to be a problem, and it's not getting any better that I can see. And I hope that somebody's working on the problem. I know there's a lot of groups working on it, but it's growing faster than the groups helping are growing. So it's a problem. So anyway, that served me well, because what I did when you're homeless, one of the things that nobody ever talks about is you have a lot of time on your hands. That's time you can go look for work. You can only look for work for so many hours in a day, and then getting around because you don't have a car. You have to take a bus. So there's only so many places that you can go, or, blah, blah, blah. So using that other time that you have, and there's no way to fill it, it's pretty hard. So I was writing, and that's what that book, the Loopholes Dossier, is all about. A third of it. That was the homeless guy is based on me and my hustle when I was homeless. And even though it's dire straits, it's funny, as Shakespeare said, the worst turns to laughter after you're out of the worst. Maybe not. Well, maybe I guess even. No, I think even in the midst of it, the thing that keeps you going is your sense of humor. If you lose your sense of humor, it's going to be much tougher. So there was a lot of humor, and I just recorded it because I had a lot of time and a pencil and a pad. So that's what I was doing. And I thought, well, okay, I'll put it in a book someday, and I guess I did.
Wow. That's an awesome story. That's amazing.
So it's kind of cool. But then, when I, and also because I'm an actor, I'm a performer, it did inform my work. I played a lot of homeless people and made a lot of money in Hollywood as an actor being hired to portray a homeless person. And I kind of think that one of the reasons I was hired was there was a little truth to it, Mm-hmm. Hello? Oh, there you go. That the truth of my street living helped me make money because I had the reality to base it on.
Yeah, it's more true. You have the realness to bring to it because you actually have been to it. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it also sharpens your attitude. A lot of the characters, like Mr. Heckles, on Friends.
On Friends, yeah.
Mr. Heckles. Well, Mr. Heckles had a very funny attitude. I get this from fans.